Hey guys, we've got design in the real world this week. So I was driving to my parents' house and I saw this sign and there's something wrong with it and I want to chat about it. Now, what's fascinating to me about this sort of design in the real world issue is that when you're on your computer designing or when you're learning about design sort of in the abstract, problems and issues feel differently than when you encounter them in the real world. And what's fascinating to me is always when you see something in the real world and it doesn't feel right, is to be able to explicitly state what are the properties that are wrong with it. So here's the sign. And what's fascinating to me about this is, and I see this multiple times. Okay, so what's going on here? So in design, we all know the Gestalt principle of proximity. And if you don't know those principles, just look up Gestalt principles. And they're just principles of how we organize visual space. And the principle of proximity says that when things are closer, we conceptually group them together. We assume that those things share something together. So on the left here, this looks like one group of things. And then when you put a channel down the middle, implicitly we think this is two sets of three somethings. There's something. Now there's nothing in this design that tells us what separates this first group of three from the second group of three. But because of this large channel that goes between, we assume that there's something that binds these together and something that binds these together. And this is the problem with the design. So let's think about this more abstractly, just with a sign in general. So here, let's say we've got some copy, 3 lines of copy, and then we got the edge of a sign. Now, if you notice, the space between the top edge and the first line of copy and the bottom edge and the first line of copy is this much, and it's about double that of the ones between the two copies. So visually, this is saying that this copy bears a relation to the edge that it does not bear to the rest of the copy. So this is supposed to have a closer relation to the edge and this to this edge than it is to these copies together. So there's two conflicting principles being communicated here. Because if we saw this, we would see that, oh, the type is supposed to go together. It's all type and the border is just a border. It's just a shape. So we understand conceptually that the type is supposed together, but that's warring in our brains with this principle of proximity, which is telling us, oh no, this copy bears a closer relation to the edge than it does to the copy. So you feel this dissonance and you want to resolve it. And so the obvious thing is just that you bring them together. And so now you have a closer visual relation that is telling us that, oh, this is a group of things that should go together. So now let's apply that to our sign. So here is where we started. And notice we have the same problem. The space between the title and the edge, especially with these large capitals, you have a lot of space here, much less space here. And similarly, you have these are closer to the edge than it is here. So we have these conflicting feelings about this design where we're supposed to associate things in opposite directions. So if we just move these, then all of a sudden the problem resolves and we don't feel any problems. Let's go back once more. That was before and this is after. It doesn't feel like there's a dissonance. And we can just scale these a little bit more and finish off the design, and that's how it should be. So that's the Gestalt principle of proximity and edges and stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I will see you later.